Blog Talk Radio.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
And liftoff on another Saturday, February 8th. We are in February already in this year of 2020, which just got started here. Welcome, everybody, wherever you're listening from. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. There's some people on the other side of the world probably listening in today. I'm Dax Carlisle, president of the Tarot Guild. We're now in our 16th year, and you're listening to Tarot Today Radio here on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. I'm also the executive producer for Psychic Talk, and we're a live call-in show. So give us a ring, 714-816-4628. And I want to welcome my fabulous co-host. She is a certified tarot master, and she's the vice president for certification for the Tarot Guild. It is Mary Brown. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Dex. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Welcome aboard. Oh, good. Doing fabulous, doing fabulous. Got to turn up the volume a little bit. For some reason, I'm on a different setup, folks. I really am, so calling in on the phone here. So using a different type of setup and headset and everything. Fun stuff, though. Fun stuff. Yeah, I was going to name off everything, but it would take me forever between the Crystal Reiki Master and the Angels
all my accolades.
Deck reviewer, former Hollywood reporter to the stars. I mean, you name it, Mary's done it, or is still doing it. One or the other. Anyway, something like that.
One or the other.
Yes. Hey, so when you get through on the switchboard, remember to press 1 so we know that you want to be live on air, 714-816-4628. Press the number 1 on your dial pad. If you're Skyping in, don't forget to open the app. Then you have to open the dial pad, press 1. And we are in the chat room, or I'm in the chat room over here at thetarotguild.com/chat on our brand spanking new Tarot Guild website. You're going to love this, folks. It's like a social media site for tarot at thetarotguild.com. It's free to join. You can use the website and all the amenities and everything, including the live chat, which I'm in right now here. Great stuff. So,
yeah, good stuff. I'm in the live chat, too. I like our little chat room on the Tarot Guild.
I like it, too. One of the bad things about this setup here is that I can't get to a mute button very quickly. And so, usually I hit the mute button if I'm going to cough. So you might hear some coughing today, folks. Unlike normal when I, just turn on the mute, cough, and then turn it back off. But it's really hard because, my other headset has a nice inline mute button that I can push, and I'm usually Skyped in, and so there's a mute button also right there on my computer screen that I can just click real quick. This one I got to open up the phone and get to the mute button and push the mute button. Oh, my God. It's just I'm not liking this, Mary. I got to order a new headset. My headset I've had for the last 5 years finally bit bit the dust. And, gave up the ghost. Gotta get a new one. Yeah.
Why don't they make things that last forever?
I never understood that. Yeah. Of course, they did back in the day, but everything was made out of solid metal or solid rock.
Right?
Can you imagine?
Exactly.
Can you imagine wearing a headset made out of rock? I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, crystal headset. I'm all for it.
Oh yeah. And I mentioned vice president certification. We're actually going to be talking about that next week. I can't wait. It's actually been quite a while since we did a show talking about tarot certification, becoming a certified tarot reader, the different levels that the Tarot Guild offers. Why should you even get certified, or should you get certified? And so we're going to cover all of that. Plus, people can call in and ask their questions.
I'm glad we're doing that, because I have to say, I do get asked an awful lot about it by different people, in those same questions. And so it'll be good to have a recent episode that I can just point them to, and say, listen to this, because I'm sure we're going to cover all the bases. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do some promotion before next week's show and try to get folks to come on and ask questions and put their opinion in. We know it's a very opinionated, topic. It's one of those divisive topics.
Yeah, everybody has an opinion on it, and I mean, these days, there's a lot of different, schools. There's always been different schools of thought on it, but now there's like a lot of different, ways to get certified, and I think, it helps to explain like what our program is, and why that might be more viable than some of those others out there where, it's just like by a person instead of a guild.
The various certification boards are mostly defunct now, so we could talk about that and how we're really the last man standing as far as having a worldwide actual certification. Whereas what's become popular lately is an individual goes out and teaches a course and then gives you a certificate for the course, and they say you're certified. With no organization behind them, nothing to back anybody up or help them or evaluate or anything like that. So we'll talk all about that next week. I think it's going to be interesting. I do think people are coming around though now, because back in the day when we first started at the Tarot Guild and first started to offer certification, it was pretty 50-50. 50% of tarot readers absolutely hated the idea, and they were the most vocal, and 50% wanted certification. I think now it's coming around the other way now, where more and more people want the certification, but most of the certification boards, like the Canadian one, the American one, the German one, I think they, for the most part, most of them are defunct now. It's just the Tarot Guild that's left here. Yep.
Well, we are talking today about one of my favorite topics, and that's like how to choose your first tarot deck. I love talking about that because I think it's like, it's like the adventure begins. It's like, the first step on the adventure. It's hard to become a tarot reader unless you have a tarot deck.
That's right. And, it's so different nowadays. We get this question a lot now, Mary, but back when you and I started, I mean, you wanted a tarot deck, you go to the store, you have to decide, do you want the Wade Smith version or do you want the Aleister Crowley,
Toth.
My mind is blank. What is it, Toth? The Toth that I've never owned or even touched a Toth deck in my life. I just never liked Harris's drawings. I just never liked it. Anyway, but the there's there was you either pick the Thoth or Thoth or however you want to pronounce it, and or you pick the Waite Smith or you pick the Tarot de Marseille, and that's it. Yeah. That was it. It wasn't like a big deal. It's like, okay, you go there, one of the three are going to resonate with you, and that's the one you go with. Now it's different. Now there's thousands of decks.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I think,
I look at it's wonderful, and I see that part, but I also see the confusion for the newbies. Like, what the heck do I do when there's 2,000 tarot decks on the market?
Absolutely. So we're gonna give you some help in trying to get through the plethora of choices now that we have.
Yeah, my first deck, just to give my story, was that a friend of mine gifted me my first tarot deck for my birthday one year. And, he knew I had an interest because I had an interest in all of this stuff, sacred geometry and numerology, everything, going back to my teenage years, But I had studied more deeply into the numerology and the sacred geometry and only had a cursory interest in some of these other things like tarot and astrology and other forms of divination and so forth, But I was working on pastoral counseling at the time, and a friend of mine said, I think you'd get a lot out of tarot using it as a therapeutic tool, which piqued my interest. And he has actually had a bunch of books on it, and he gave me his books, and he gifted me my first tarot deck, which was the Dragon Tarot, because I was born in the year of the dragon, and it was my birthday, so he felt, I'm going to give him the Dragon Tarot. Yeah, and I think it was it was the year of the dragon that year, actually, too. It was like, 2000 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
About 20 years ago. Yeah, and that was cool. I loved that deck. I could not read with that deck. I love that deck, Mary, but I could not read with that deck, And,
I have that deck too. It's like dragons.
Yeah,
like
which
on every
is
card.
cool. But what do you do with that? And it's like, okay, 3 of dragons. Anyway, no, but seriously, I loved the deck. I loved the artwork. There's actually multiple dragon decks now, but back then there was like maybe 1 or 2, and only like 1 was in print. And so he gifted me the dragon. I couldn't read with it, and I had all those books that he gave me, and of course I read all those books and fell in love, and immediately ran out and bought 60,000 other books, And all the books that I'm reading, they all have this Waite Smith thing in it, whatever that is, And I finally learned the history of the Arthur Waite and Pamela Pixie Smith, and how they were in the Golden Dawn and created in 1910, 1909, came out in 1910, printed through the Rider Company, what has become affectionately known as the Rider Waite Smith deck. Rider is a little bit useless at this point because it's actually printed by U.S. Games, and there hasn't been a Rider Company in years. So it's actually more like the Waite Smith deck. I like to call it Waite Smith. Some people call it RWS and all this stuff. So I saw all these pictures, and I was like, in the books, and that's how they taught. It was all the symbolism was the Waite Smith, and so I ran out and bought myself a Waite Smith deck. So that's how I got started. But my first deck was the Dragon Tarot.
Mine was.
What about you, Mary?
Mine was actually the Rider Waite Smith. A friend gave it to me, and I remember we were in this cool little shop, and they had tarot decks and stuff, metaphysical shop, and he said, "Oh, your first tarot deck, it has to be a gift, that old old wives' tale. It's not true. You can pick and choose your deck yourself, and you can buy it for yourself, and that's nothing wrong with that. Just so people know. But when you're a teenager, you're like, ooh, you like the tricky stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, so you bought me that one. Now I can buy my own, right? So, before even opening it, he bought it for me, and like the store on the same day, I saw the Mother Piece one, and so I'm like, oh wow, well this one's round. That sounds interesting, and so I got that, and then,
Yep.
but every book, I mean, you make a really good point that I think is, important for people choosing tarot decks and just getting started on their journey. It's like you have to realize that most of the good books on tarot, the majority of them are going to use the Rider-Waite-Smith or some version of that to explain tarot to you. So you're going to be like a little bit, lost unless you have that deck that you can, what they're talking about. You can see, in the deck, you can go to the card that you're learning about. But it depends. Yeah, I'm kind of like you, Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris's deck, the Thoth deck, just did not appeal to me so much. But I felt like, I had to have it, so I do have a copy of it, and I find it interesting,
cool.
and I like her artwork. What I like more are some of the newer decks that have come out since then. Well, they're not all that new, but like the Village Tarot by U.S. Games is like kind of based on Thoth a bit, and it's just beautiful sort of watercolors, and comes in a tin. Their little decks in a tin that they have, and
I love
that.
Come in tins.
Oh, so convenient, isn't it? And and there's other people creating, their version of the Thoth deck as well, and same with Tarot de Marseille. That's something that I've been kind of really, delving into more deeply lately, as the TDM decks. Because they're interesting, and there's kind of an undercurrent right now of like people being interested in TDM, so that's like kind of experiencing some popularity again. But I don't, those main three traditions never go out of style. But yeah, I think when you're starting out, I think Rider-Waite is the most accessible, and I think it's also the most written about, and the tarot books that you would want to, if you're just starting out, like if you look at like something like, 78 Degrees, or, Mary Greer's writing, or Rachel Pollitt's writing, you're probably going to want to have a Rider-Waite-Smith on hand to help you.
And it's what you probably saw in the movies or on TV. For instance, a very recent episode of Manifest. Manifest came back on the air, and they had a tarot reader.
I saw that
in the beginning of one of the episodes. Did you see that? And she pulled the Hermit card, and it was the Waite-Smith deck. It was awesome.
Yeah, what was weird about that, just a little aside here, though, was like she gave the card to her. Remember, because like at the end of the episode, she like found it, and she's like, wait a minute, I've seen that image, and she finds it, and it's like, she explains it to her husband. Yeah, I'd let her have a tarot reading, let her have one, like, oh, it's the mom. And she still had the card because the reader had given her the card. And I thought, who does that? Like, then you're missing a card. And, like, who does that?
Unless you got
that was the only
20
thing that
Waite-Smith decks, piled up behind you, and you just have one deck that you, like, give people cards out of or something. That was bizarre. That really was bizarre.
Yeah, and that threw me. I was like, hey, they needed a tarot consultant on this, because they would have been like, nah, that's not going to work. Nobody would believe that.
Yeah. If I want somebody, sometimes I do want to do that. I want to share it with a client. I mean, what I'll do is I'll grab an image off of Google of the card, and I will email it to them. Or if they're in person, I'll print out a copy of the card and hand it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I have people take pictures. I just take, like if I'm doing an event, I'll like have them take a picture of the card with their phone, so they have it like right there.
Yeah, nowadays it's great because you can just whip out that phone, take a picture of anything written down, any images, any text. It's not just for selfies, folks. It's wonderful because you can just go, hey, take a picture of the reading, and then if you ever have any questions, just email me the picture so that it refreshes my memory of the reading.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So
that's another thing too.
So what's our card of the day? Speaking of tarot.
The card of the day, we always pick a card of the day, and we got the Page of Wands. And so he's holding the wand there. It's a, wands is that fire energy. That's, passion, following your passion and stuff. So the Page of Wands is, striking out in the world, and it's inventive, taking daring action, dependable, infectious enthusiasm for life, a lively disposition. In the background on the traditional Waite-Smith deck, there's the three pyramids, like right out of Egypt. So there's a connection to travel, especially overseas travel, and he's looking very intently at his wand, which actually is a staff. It's a walking staff, and he's staring at it, studying it, and all the pages are about study and learning. They equate to the Master Illuminator number 11. So that's about the Page of Wands, and for everybody listening out there, there might be a message in there for those of you listening. Maybe different things to different people, but travel, following your dreams, following your passion, striking out in the world, taking daring action. Just do it. Just do it. So that's the card of the day. What about you, Mary? You always do a card of the day and post it in the group.
Yes, and and in case there are people listening have not joined our Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group yet, you need to join. We have a lot of fun in there, and I post a card of the day every day. And today's card comes from the Garden Dragons Oracle deck, written by Arwen Lynch. Arwen did a beautiful job on the guidebook, field guide to the Garden Dragons, and isn't that cool? And the artwork is just gorgeous by Stanley Morrison. And the card I picked was the Peapod Dragon. And the message of the Peapod Dragon is about organizing, saying to organize. It's like Peapod Dragon shows up when things are a bit messy or scattered, and if you're, even if your thoughts are a bit messy, anytime things sort of get out of balance. So it's asking you to think today about whether or not you're balancing, work with play and self-care. Are you managing your time well? You can write out all the things you have to do in a day and make sure that, having a little time to yourself and a little time for self-care is on that list. And then, when it's just like when you're organized, and sometimes making lists help with this. You feel like you're taking charge of your time, and you find that you've got more time for yourself, and you feel less stressed. So, organized. That's the message from the Peapod Dragon. And you can find that card. It's so cute.
Awesome.
You can see the card on the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. You can find that by going to psychictalkradio.net/Facebook, or you can look for it on Facebook.
I saw that this morning.
Yeah, isn't it adorable?
I love it. Oh, and
yeah, we were just talking about dragons.
I know, that's even better. It's like a dragon tarot card, but you mentioned our Psychic Talk group, and I just wanted to mention the Tarot Guild group also on Facebook. We're up to 5,616 members now. 33 new members in the last couple of days. I mean, we are averaging anywhere from 8 or 10 on up to as many as 20 a day now joining the Tarot Guild group. I don't know who opened the floodgates, but I'm really glad that they did. Maybe Facebook finally figured us out and said, oh, you know, and the algorithm decided to put us in front of more faces because in front of more eyeballs because we're getting a ton of people. You can just search The Tarot Guild on Facebook. The fast, easy way is to type in thetarotguild.com/Facebook. That'll take you right over to the group. You can join us over there. We would love that. So in my course, I always recommend the same thing, starting off with the a Waite-Smith clone of some kind. I mean, my favorite is the Radiant, and you can go to psychictalk.net/Radiant Tarot, RADIANT Tarot. psychictalk.net/Radiant Tarot. And go check that out. It has the best, brightest colors. There's also the Universal Weight. So that would be psychictalk.net/Universal Weight. And weight is like weight, but add an E on the end because it's English. So WAITE, Universal Weight. So go check those out. Great, beginning decks, of course. But then at some point, you're going to want to get something that more speaks to you. And back in those days, in the early days there, we finally started having a lot of different things coming out. I remember that Mark Reed's favorite was I think it was the Robin Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that, yeah.
That's a classic.
But then classic decks. I liked it. I didn't personally resonate with it, but I liked the images, and when he used it, I like to watch, look over his shoulder when he was doing readings. And but then eventually, some of the Ciro Marchetti decks started coming out, and oh my God, that's when I fell in love because, digital art, digital art just speaks to me. I like, I don't know, the colors and the crispness, as opposed to, something that's hand painted or hand drawn or, something like that. I used to always say that, 90% of the decks coming out, they look like stick figures to me, like a 4-year-old drew them, and they just don't appeal to me, I mean, unless that's what the guy is or the gal that's doing the deck is actually going for. There is a stick figure tarot, and actually, and things like that. But some of them are like, look at my wonderful artwork, and I'm like, oh, ew, really?
Nice.
And I know art is the most subjective thing in the world. That's why we have 5,000 tarot decks, But God, please, oh my God, and even Ciro's stuff has progressed over the years. There was some of the earlier decks were, a little rougher, and I loved when he came out with Legacy of the Divine Tarot, and that became my deck for the longest time. That I still love it to this day. I mean, because I we didn't have 5,000 decks like we got now, but we had several hundred. Yet nothing really, really spoke to me like it was my deck. except for I was so used to universal weight. I was so used to the radiant and the universal weight and the different weight clones that felt more like my deck, the deck that resonated with me because I was just so used to it. Nothing had come out that, was like, oh my God, like if you're really, really into dragons or really, really into dolphins and you find the dolphin deck or you find the dragon deck and you go, oh my God, or the fairy deck or, whatever it is you're really, 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 really into, unless it was going to be a Star Wars deck or a Star Trek deck, which, they weren't coming out with because of rights issues, nothing else was going to speak to me until Chiro started doing his work, and I was like, oh my God, digital art, yes, that's it. That's what I need. This is what I need. I want this, And then he finally came out with the Legacy deck, Legacy of the Divine Tarot. Had a whole backstory about it, mythology, and it was so cool. And I just loved the images, and they were really great for reading in person with clients because the clients loved the images. Yeah, and such a contrast from, say, the Wade Smith deck, which most people, when they would get a tarot reading from me, and that's what was in their mind because they had seen it on 007, the death card, or they had seen it on a TV show or something like that. And when I pulled out, Chiro's deck, when I pulled out the Legacy of the Divine Tarot, they were like, oh my God, I didn't know that there was other tarot decks besides the one you see on TV, the Wade Smith thing, and this is so much better. The images are fantastic. Holy cow, and it worked really well for in-person readings. People were, starstruck, for lack of a better term, looking at the Legacy deck. But, and actually I've got that linked up at psychitalk.net/legacy. psychitalk.net/legacy will take you over to that deck. But the one that he came out more recently is the Grand Lux, and it's a LUXE. Yeah. So psychitalk.net/Grand Lux, LUXE. Go check that one out as well. And I think that, is his penultimate thing. I still haven't gotten it yet, and I was hoping that it would show up in my stocking for Christmas. Yeah, I was hoping that it would show up in my stocking from Santa Claus, but I have yet to get one. What do you think of it in person?
I like it. One thing I do like about it, it's just a beautiful deck. The Gilded was like my first Giro deck that I fell in love with, and I still love that deck. I still use it a lot. I have the Legacy of the Divine too. I think the Tarot Grand Lux is really gorgeous. It's amazing. And his next one coming out this year, I think in April, is the Gilded Royale. So he's like redoing the Gilded. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. But I'll tell you what's funny is you were talking about all the different sort of theme decks that there are out there, and I remember the first time I encountered a theme deck, I was in a bookstore. You remember bookstores? Where we used to be able to go.
I do remember.
It's like
Barnes
they seem
and Noble
to
and Borders. We actually still have Barnes and Noble here.
I'll tell you, I miss going to bookstores, and
Me
it's
too.
like I was in a totally different section. I was maybe in, I don't know, probably a self-help section or maybe a science section or philosophy section or something, but it was not a tarot section, right? And I'm just kind of looking at the new releases or whatever, and somebody had wedged in a tarot deck. It was like a big box, and I was like, wow, what's this? And it was the Unicorn Tarot. And I was just like, what? I'm like, how could there even be a Unicorn Tarot? I don't get this, and what is this about? And because I wasn't, I hadn't really delved into the theme decks at that point. And, so I went and I'm like, wow, it's strange. I'm like, well, I felt like it was like a lost unicorn. Like I should put it back where it's supposed to go. And I told there was a lady that worked at the bookstore that was right there. I'm like, oh, this is in the wrong section, and I'm not sure where it goes. And she was like, oh, okay. And for some reason, that particular deck, they didn't even have it on their inventory anymore. Like she couldn't even and I'm like, there's no price on it or anything, And so she's like, wow, well, it's not supposed to be here. I guess I didn't even know we had this, but I ended up getting it, right? Because it was like, okay, this is like just weird, and I'm kind of into unicorns, but I didn't know there was a unicorn tarot, and yeah, so it was just kind of I feel like that deck found me, and I love it. It's just kind of a funny deck because it's almost exactly. It's an awful lot like a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and this is what we mean by clone, where it's a lot like it, only, instead of people in the cards, it has people, but there's a unicorn added to every card, for whatever reason. It's kind of a funny thing, but it's a great deck. It's like that was. I think the book was written by Suzanne Starr and illustrated by Liz Hilton, came out in the 90s. But, sometimes, when we're choosing a deck, sometimes they seem to be choosing us as well. So look out for when that happens. I think pay attention, Or if you dream of a tarot deck. Like I remember, I had this dream, and I don't even remember what was going on in the dream, but I woke up, and the last thing I heard before I woke up was the name Ludi Lescott. And I didn't even know it was a name, and I didn't even know how to spell it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that is.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was either, so I just, typed how I thought it was spelled, right, on the Internet, and it came up that it was a tarot deck that was about to be released. It was going to be released in a couple months. And
wow.
It was the strangest thing. And I'm like, well, that's so weird. I don't know, how that came to me. So I, kept watch for it to come out and got it when it did. And it is like one of my absolute favorite decks. And it's just amazing, and it's really weird because it's kind of has its own mythology too. Ludi Lescott is like this person who was a tarot reader in New Orleans. That's the kind of short backstory that Los Scarabeo gave it. They don't go too far in their backstories usually when they do that, but
right.
It's just phenomenal. So if you dream about a tarot deck, or one seems to find you, I feel like that's worth considering getting those decks. That's
the way to choose your first tarot deck, or choose a deck. Maybe we should have called the show instead of your first deck. We should have said, okay, go out and get the Waite-Smith deck and learn tarot, and then come back, and then how to choose your next tarot deck.
Right.
And
then the one after,
we
can keep doing these.
Exactly. And you were talking about bookstores, and one of the great things about the bookstores back in the day when we had all the bookstores was being able to go in and peruse the physical tarot deck right there in your hand. And some of them even had where you could actually flip through the different cards and stuff. And, the bookstores have gone the way of the dodo bird, but, there are still some metaphysical shops out there. Maybe in your local area there might be a shop, and, give them a call. Ask them if they have, tarot cards available, and do they have examples. Like a lot of stores would buy a stock of a deck, and then one of them they would open, and you could check it out before you bought it. Nowadays, though, things have changed since, we started. Nowadays, we have this thing called the Internet, and you can actually go in there, and you can search tarot decks. You can do a search on Google. You could do a search on Amazon. Go under the book section and type in tarot decks, and then where it says relevance, you can, in that drop-down menu, you can change it to publication date. It'll give you in reverse order all the decks coming out, and you can look up images on Google Images, and before you buy a deck, actually go through a lot of the images are available online. So, back in the day, you would just see the cover, like with the Dragon Tarot, for instance. Neither I nor the person that gifted it to me had any clue what the card looked like. It was just the card on the outside of the deck, and then you had to open up the box and go in and see what the cards actually look like. Nowadays, it's easy. You can Google it. And there are still some stores around where you can actually physically go through the cards. And that way you can look at the imagery and you can see if something speaks to you. And that's the best way to choose a deck is where you look at the cards and they really just resonate with you. You get the butterflies in the stomach kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. And, YouTube, too. There's so many people doing flip-throughs or walkthroughs of decks, and where they don't really do anything else except like show you the cards. Sometimes they'll do an unboxing so you can see like kind of what the packaging material is like if you're into that. But I tend to do that every time I do a deck review on YouTube. I do like try to show every single card because people have particular cards they care about. Like they think of it as like their card.
I got to see Temperance and the Magician.
Right? Yeah. I've got to see the Temperance card. I've got to see the Strength card. I've got to see the Queen of Cups. For me, the Queen of Cups and the Strength card are the ones I always want to see first.
And I wanted to mention that a really good deck review always gives that information. They're giving their impression. Yeah. They're talking about the images and the deck and everything, but they give the detailed technical information, the specs. How good is the card stock? What is the length and width? How is it boxed, and what's the unwrapping like to you? And really go into detail and have pictures, as many pictures as possible. One thing I really liked about Janet Boyer's reviews was that she always had a lot more cards shown. She would take more images than the average reviewer, so you could really get a good look at a good cross section of the deck.
Yeah, and I flip through every single card when I do YouTube reviews, so you can see them all. And, I'll even shuffle on camera so you can see, like, am I having a hard time? Because that's another thing. Or is it easy to shuffle? Or you're absolutely right about the card stock. That can make or break a deck for a lot of people, because it's like if you can't shuffle it, or it sticks together all the time, or it's too slippery. I mean, everybody has their pet peeve, right? So, but yeah, size matters.
Yeah, and it's funny that the synchronicities today are amazing, because our next show, it just came up about certification, and that's what we're doing next week. And then you just mentioned shuffling, and February the 22nd, our show is about how to shuffle a tarot deck. So there you go.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all kinds of different methods of, how to do that, and you can tell when you're trying to shuffle, do the card slide well and stuff. And, that's important stuff, not just what the pictures are, in a deck. At least it is to me anyway.
Me too.
Awesome sauce. So if anybody out there listening, if you have a suggestion for, really cool tarot deck, or, you think somebody should, look at this or something, give us a call, 714-816-4628. Remember to press 1 on your dial pad so we know you want to be live on air with us, but call in 714-816-4628. Let us know, your favorite tarot deck, and you can call in for a mini reading as well. Real quick, just real quick before we go to the callers here. I know people have been waiting for a long time here, but we have enough time in the show to get everybody in. I did want to mention that tomorrow, Sharona Rapsik is going to be back with another episode of her Magic Universe show, and her guest is going to be Maria G. Moss. They're going to be talking about romance, angels, and love potions, just in time for Valentine's coming up here. Mary, what do you think? Love potion.
Awesome. Love potion number 9.
Yep.
I love that song. Yeah, what's funny is I just, because I do a lot of, romance readings, love life readings and stuff, and I think sometimes it's easier than we think it is to find love. That's my feeling about Valentine's Day. I feel like being open to it, being a little bit social helps, those are my tips for Valentine's Day. Yeah, a little bit. Get out there a little bit so you could actually meet the people. You might actually meet the love of your life.
Oh, boy.
I just think it's easier than we think it is sometimes.
You can check out Sharona's show tomorrow, and they're going to be talking about romance, angels, and love potions. It'll be great to hear Maria. She's on hiatus, so I haven't heard her on a show in a while. And then on Monday, it's Wisdom of the Soul, followed by Compassionate Light, Healing, and Guidance. And Catherine's doing this series of shows on living a purpose-filled life. And then Friday is Valentine's Day. February 14th, Happy Valentine's, and we're going to be talking about love mantras, Dr. Rose and I. Love mantras, and then you and I will be back next Saturday, February 15th. Why should you get certified? We'll talk all about tarot certification. So that's what's coming up here. Yeah. Let's see, who's been waiting the longest? It looks like I'm going to say area code 305. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi.
Hello, 305.
Yes, hi. I've been listening to the show the whole time. It's really cool.
Awesome.
I know there's a lot of decks out there for sure. I think I got my first weight deck, I don't use the tarot too much. And then I have the one, I think it's the Aquarian one. I like the artwork on that one.
Ooh, the Aquarian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good starter deck, too. Good deck to start off with, Aquarian. I like
really
that.
Pretty. I think I got those in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The art is very Art Nouveau-y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the star, in my head. So, and I was listening to your show yesterday about the numbers coinciding with the year, for 2020 and all of that. You were talking about 5 a lot. But can I ask a question, Zach?
Yeah, but first, can I get your name?
Yes, sorry. Eileen.
Eileen, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because somehow we went over that.
I didn't go there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mary, you too. You two are so cute. The question relates to this upcoming, not this weekend, but the following week, next weekend, the Valentine's weekend. There's a big art festival in my town, and there's three major things going on, actually 4. And I'm going to be in that festival, and I was wondering if you see it through the cards, the outcome for me. Do you see me getting an award, a ribbon, and selling originals, et cetera, et cetera?
Awesome. And is there a particular day? Is it like the 15th?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
So it's
I'm
it's
sorry.
Saturday,
Yeah,
Sunday,
15,
Monday.
16, 17. It's 3 days. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what day is the awards given?
They judge on the 15th, and then they probably give them out on the 16th.
Okay. The reason
Saturday
why I
they
asked
judge.
that,
Sunday they give them out.
yeah, it's good to look at the numerology of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at that real quick, and yeah. Okay, and then we're going to pull some cards here. Mary, did you already pull cards?
I did. These are great cards.
What are you getting? What are you getting?
Well, the card that's overlooking everything else is the Six of Wands. So to me, that that really fits with the idea of getting an award, getting an accolade, getting credit in some way. And then right underneath that Six of Wands is the Star card. Right? You just mentioned, the Star. And the Star card's right underneath the Six of Wands, and then underneath that is the World card.
Oh,
so,
great.
I think it looks pretty good for that.
Okay, good.
Temperance card, is on one side, and then Eight of Cups is the last card that comes up. So I feel like this. I feel like that Temperance and Eight of Cups are like saying something about this, and it could be talking about maybe how you feel about it. I do feel like you get, acknowledgement, an award, appreciation. We see that right down the middle with the Star, World, and Six of Wands. The Temperance card, I feel like it's, to me, it's a card of moderation. The Eight of Cups is like, it's a cups of emotions. The Eight is when we're ready. Like, I feel like after this, you're like on to the next thing, kind of.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see what Dax is getting.
I'm thinking the same thing with, just leaping on to the next thing. Does that make sense, Mary? Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. With that Eight of Cups, I was like, okay.
I'm always leaping, you guys. I'm always leaping.
Yeah. So, the 16th, when they actually give them out, is a 4 date. And I'm getting the 4 of Cups. And interestingly enough, I get the Fool card, which is, taking that leap that we just talked about. And Mary, you said, was it the Six of Wands that you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got too, Six of Wands. So, Six of Wands is the success card. I feel it's interesting, looking at the numerology of the date and getting the corresponding Four of Cups, which is a card of feeling like you're stuck in a rut or dissatisfaction. There's something really positive there being offered, but you're missing it because you're staring at the 3 cups in front of you that you're not really happy with, kind of thing, So the success card indicates that you're going to have success. And what I'm feeling is it might be like you get an award or even multiple awards, but it might not be exactly what you're wanting to get. And that's why we're getting that 4 of Cups. Yeah.
Okay.
But it looks really positive to me. Like you're going to get some accolades, and then that will be a leaping off point, no pun intended, with with the Fool card showing up. That'll be a leaping off point for you.
Sounds great. Well, I have 29 ribbons already for the past 50 years of my career.
Nice.
Wow.
Actually, I started getting them when I was 13, so a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I work really hard at what I do, and the people love it. So I'm going to be excited, once again, to put out a whole new portfolio into the public.
Well,
Awesome.
You'll be busy doing that next week on the 15th, but we'll be back on the 22nd. You'll have to call in and let us know what happened.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I shall.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks
I'm going to keep
call.
listening. You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hi.
Okay, great call. Great call.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and such an interesting question too. It isn't like one of the regular things. A little more interesting.
I'll tell you. Yeah, and I have seen Eileen's artwork on Facebook, and it is just it doesn't surprise me that she's gotten that many ribbons. I mean, it's just beautiful color and just gorgeous, But
I remember us getting a call from her before, but I don't remember seeing the artwork. So you're gonna have to send me the link so I can see. Oh my God, so much fun. And let's see who the next caller is. We got time for one more call here. Remember, if we don't get to your call, that Sharona's going to be on with Mary. Not with Mary, with Maria. Sorry, Mary.
Maria.
With Maria. Yeah, and they used to be co-hosts on Sunday, and now they have each their own separate show, which is like on every other Sunday, except Maria is on hiatus until later this year. And it's going to be great. We get to hear Maria and Sharona. They're going to be talking about the love potions and the angels of love. And so they're also going to be taking phone calls. So you can call in on tomorrow's show. It's the same phone number. Let's see who's been waiting the longest. It looks like area code 612. Caller, where are you calling in from, and what's your name? I'm not familiar with 612. Yeah.
I'm calling from Minnesota, and my name is Christiana.
Hi, Christiana.
Hi.
Hi.
There's actually a very famous Grand Master of Tarot called Christiana Godet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
A new deck that I got that's really cool is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck by Kim Kranz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I heard of that.
How do you like it?
Yeah.
I really like it. They use a lot of black and white, which I wouldn't think normally that, I'd like that, but it's actually the images are very, they really pop, so I really like it.
It's funny what I like.
Black and white decks are fun.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I like those kind of decks, actually, with like a splash of color here and there. In some of the images, that's kind of what I like. But what I wanted to mention was, what's really cool about that deck, and it's not even the deck, it's the box. I love the box.
Yeah, the box. With
it's
the
so
eye
colorful,
and the shiny.
but with the black,
yeah.
and oh yeah, that is a really cool one. I'm glad you brought that one up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I do have a question.
Awesome.
Okay. So I was wondering when my business will start picking up. When am I going to start making money?
Okay, what kind of business are you in, or what type of? What do you do?
I do what you guys do. I do psychic readings, tarot readings, oracle, stuff like that. Life coaching.
Awesome stuff. Let me check out some of the numerology. What month and day were you born?
Month and day, January 13th.
0113. So you are in a 9 personal year, and the only reason why I wanted to do that is because we just talked about personal years on yesterday's show, and it's so important in the beginning of the year, and it fits in with your question, because a lot of times it's not, you could do anything you want in any year, but does it align with the energy of the cycles? There's these 9 cycles, 9 years that we go through, and then it starts over again. Well, you're in a 9 personal year. So 2020 is about endings for you. It's about cleaning out the closet, and literally and figuratively, if you haven't touched it in 6 months, get rid of it. If you haven't done, gotten anywhere with this project, put it on the back burner. The ones that have been on the back burner for a while, just get rid of them altogether. The idea is you want to make room for something better to come in. And what I feel is going on here is that you should do that at least the first half of the year, maybe even longer. Really get rid of any baggage that's holding you back, because I feel like there might also be some blocks that is some of the reason why you're not advancing with the career. And then start making plans towards the end of the year. You know, clear everything out first, make room, clear the blocks, and then start making plans. You know, how do I niche down better with my business? How do I get more specific? What problem do I solve? It's, you know, tarot readers and psychics and everything, we try to be everything to everybody. Oh, yeah, I can whip out the deck and I can answer anybody's question about anything. Yes, you can. However, people like experts. They want you to be an expert in something. You know, like the one person that all they do is romance readings. They're going to help you find the next love of your life, or they're going to help you get back together with your last love, you know, or something like that. You know, you should be working on a niche. And then in 2021, guess what? January 1, 2021, you moved into a 1 year. You're starting a whole brand new cycle. I think that's where it's going to really, really start taking off for you.
Okay.
January next year.
Should I continue doing the blog talk show, or should I wait until January?
Well, I mean, if you're doing it already, you're not going to stop and start again.
Well, I have in the past because it didn't go anywhere really. So.
Okay, so that's part of that 9 energy. That's part of that clearing energy. You want to be honest with yourself. Yeah, I'm not even going to pull cards for this. I'm just going to let Mary do the cards and see what she comes up with for you. But just to wrap it up with the numerology part, part of that 9 energy, part of that letting go is reevaluation. So I want you to evaluate and quantify the show you do now. Are you getting a lot out of it? Are you getting a lot of response? Do you have a big listenership? Is it adding to the bottom line? If your answer to one or more or multiple of those is no, then yes, let it go for now, because guess what? In January 2021, you launch that brand new show, and it's going to be a new show with a new title that is aimed at the niche that you're going for. I, as Christiana, as a reader, I solve this problem for people. And so everything you do on the show is going to be tidbits and tips in that area, in that arena and niche, and talking to other experts. Like if you're the romance expert, you're going to bring on other romance experts. Or if you're let's say you're a reader that works with people specifically on finances, you're going to have guests on that have nothing to do with tarot or being a reader, because that's you. That's what you do. You're going to have experts on that on your show and interview them that are in that arena of finance, you know. Or if it's career, you're going to have on the people that help people with their resumes, you know, things like that. Everything should be aimed at the niche. And this way, by taking the time right now, you know, you drop what you're doing now with Blog Talk. You know, after you do the honest evaluation, maybe it's doing well and you should keep it going to the end of the year or longer. I don't know. You got to evaluate that. But, you know, this is when you want to clear everything out, get ready, create the niche, figure everything around it out, you know, at least have your first 3 months, you know, January, February, March, maybe all the way till June, all planned out. You know, you're going to do some shows where it's just you, and you're going to do some shows where you're interviewing experts in that niche that you're going to develop, okay? Let's go to Mary and see what she's getting.
Okay.
You got any cool stuff for Christiana, Mary?
Well, you know, I'm looking at the cards I pulled on this, and I'm thinking, what is holding you back? Okay, what is it? You know, because star card is overlooking everything else, so we know that there's hope for business to pick up for you. We have the world card on one side. We do have the devil card that comes up, so, it ties in with what Dax was saying about blocks and things like that. And the hermit card is underneath everything. So, yeah, take the time to, kind of really drill down on this or contemplate, right? But right at the center is that Five of Swords. And to me, Five of Swords so often has to do about boundary issues. Have we, do we need to, step outside of the box a little bit, with the way that we're thinking? It's swords. It's happening on the mental plane. So I feel like this is an intellectual or mental conflict. The other thing that I would say about the Five of Swords is that sometimes that comes up when we're letting the opinion of others affect us too much, like we're being led in one direction or the other. So I feel like if you take some time to really tap into, I'm going to say, the energy of the star card here, what does it look like for your business to be successful? What do you want to feel like? Spend some time visualizing. Imagine yourself as a successful reader with a booming business, and start figuring out, what are the steps that I can take to kind of align with that energy. But having the Five of Swords with the devil card, going into it, it's saying, there's something we need to address here. There's something that's holding us back, that's limiting us. And so it's worth examining. But with the star card,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just going to say, with the star card and the world card, I mean, it's within you to be able to achieve this, and to have a good business. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It might have something to do with a relationship that I've been in that I need to end, and
the
two, I've
opinions
been
of
feeling
others.
the need to,
Well, tying into that idea of the opinions of others, having an impact.
Yeah. Well, that's really
Yeah.
part of this 9 energy from the the 9 personal year, letting go of things and basically asking yourself, what belief systems, what relationships, what things are no longer serving me, and just being able to let go. And could be that relationship.
I also have to let go of stuff like material possessions and donate things. And on my shows, my blog talk shows, I usually get about 10 to 13 callers per show. So
great.
It's decent.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the readings.
Absolutely, and bright blessings
Thanks,
to you.
Christiana.
You can do it.
You too.
You can be successful with this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what a great call to end the show on. I felt really strongly about that niching.
Yeah.
It's a big problem in our industry where people want to be the all-purpose reader to all people, and they end up not getting anyone. It's like,
yeah,
you actually get more clientele the more you niche down, and once you become the expert in one area, you're still going to get people in other areas, but they're going to be attracted to you because you're the expert in this one area. So if you're an expert in helping people with career or finances or something like that, then people are going to come to you and say, hey, can you help me with my relationship problem? Oh, sure, we can do that.
Absolutely. But yeah, you've got to kind of set yourself apart a little bit in some way.
Mm-hmm.
However that is, that's what's the difference between getting a reading with you and getting a reading with, Joe Schmo out there? What's the difference? Why come to you? And I think that was great advice on what problem are you solving?
Well, and I know on some of the commercial websites, Aranum, Keen,
yes,
California Psychic, that kind of thing. I know that they have categories, but still, most readers on the big platforms are, for the most part, a lot of them are pretty general. I mean, you can go to anybody about anything, and if they are under categories, they'll be under like a dozen categories. They're the finance expert, the romance expert, and everything else,
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about. So the reason why I brought that up is I'm not talking about for readers that read through services. I'm talking about the person that has their shingle out locally, and or online, but alone. You know what I mean? And she has the perfect thing going where she's already doing blog talk radio shows, podcasting. She could just develop that and just become more niche now and attract more, become the expert, attract more clients in that way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the one thing that I would say too is like, people do try to do that. I read for a big service, and they do try to do that on there in the descriptions. It's just like if you are, somebody who, like, romance is your thing or something, then that definitely it does make a difference. But it's a difference between being like in a town where maybe there's like, depending on the size of the town, there might be 5 to 10 at the most, tarot readers available, and so you really do need to stand out if you're hanging a shingle out. That juxtaposed, if there's 1,000 readers on like the big services, so it's a little different way of niching.
It's true. That's something I think in the future we should do as a topic on the show is different ways of promoting your service. Niching or niching, or however you want to say it, niching. And specializing, becoming an expert. How do you do that? Well, you write the book, you do the blog talk show. We could talk all about different aspects like that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I think it would, because I think there's also, when you specialize in certain things, I think it helps also to maybe take a life coaching course, maybe also learn more people skills, that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, considering everything we do is talking, linguistics, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, teaches you language patterns that you can use with your clients. There's so much out there. Life coaching is a great foundation for what we do. We're basically life coaches. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're at the end of the show, and I want to remind everybody about that Love Potions and Romance Angels tomorrow with Maria Moss and Sharona Rapsik. I think that's going to be great. But Mary and I will be back next Saturday. All your questions answered on becoming a certified tarot reader. Why should you get certified? And maybe you shouldn't too. We'll talk about all the different angles. Yep. So we'll see you next week. It'll be right after Valentine's Day. Maybe we'll have some Valentine's calls. Still on people's minds. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, everybody. Awesome show, and thanks to all the listeners and the callers, and thanks to you, Mary, for being here.
Thanks to you too, Dax. This was fun. I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, Dax. Bye, everybody.
now.